Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell. And this week on the first run, we check out the latest remake or movie of an old property that's all self-referential and postmodern. First we had Barbie, then we had Dungeons and Dragons. Now we've got Masters of the Universe. Does the kind of tongue-in-cheek tone, does that fit well for something so ridiculous as a guy running around in a loincloth and little else? Well, we're going to find out. And then Chris is going to give us our physical media picks for the week, which I'm very excited about. Chris tried to get me to buy into a neon. See, Chris is really just trying to make me go into the poorhouse because he sends me another link saying, oh, here are the neon ones that are coming out. But I looked at it, nothing really caught my eye, at least not enough that where I would get 3 of them.
Fair enough. Yeah, but buy one, get 2 free. That is a hell of a deal. Matt, you're looking at me funny. Well, you didn't get the little drop there? You don't recognize that?
I'm assuming, is it like a Mattel thing? Is that what that is?
It was the intro to the He-Man cartoon. It was the filmation little thing that would start before the theme started.
Now, I will admit, as a child, like a true child of the 80s, I was, 1 to 10 in the 80s. And I remember watching He-Man, definitely, and I definitely watched it when I was a kid. That's not something I've revisited, when I became a teen or an adult. So I remember very little about it as far as stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine then. Yeah, that was right in my wheelhouse as a kid. I watched that show. I would come home from school and watch that show every day. I bought it digitally. I think it was like $9.99 for the entire series. So I'm like, let me get it. And I watched a few episodes, and boy, the animation is bad. It is really. They reuse shots all the time. But it's still kind of fun. I still like it.
Well, no. Well, I was just gonna say I learned my lesson. I was super into big robots, so I watched Voltron when it came out. I was super excited when it came out when I was, I don't know, probably in college, and I watched the first episode. I'm like, oh, good Lord, this is terrible. But I mean, what did I know when I was 5 or 6 years old, right? So, anyway, I digress. Give us a little bit of Masters of the Universe, please.
Can you come help me with this? Whoa.
It is quite heavy, so if you could just...
Oh my God, yeah. Your loincloth is in my... Sorry.
Fine.
So, how does it feel to be the mighty warrior?
Things considered, I feel pretty great.
Not quite sure what happened to my shirt, though. Where are my pants? Do those come back, or I have to buy a new pair every time?
Rip my shirt. Man, I made the cardinal sin of podcasting is I drank a protein shake prior to recording. I don't know why I did that. You'd never ever do that, folks, because it's grainy and it gets stuck in your throat and stuff, and it's just, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But
well, I drank a protein shake before as well, but see, I am not a vegan, so it was whey protein, so it was quite smooth and delicious as opposed to whatever pea protein Chris is drinking.
Fair enough. You still put like chunks of steak in there as well?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Good for you. Masters of the Universe, Matt. All right, go ahead. Questions for me? So I describe what it's about. So I think I talked about this when they first announced it. One of the things I was disappointed with is that it has to still exist in a world of Earth, right? That why can't it just exist? But then I forgot that even I think in the original cartoon, his mom is human. She's from Earth. So I have to let that slide. So Adam is a little kid, and Skeletor and his minions attack. What is it? Eros?
Eternia.
No, it's not. That's the planet. It's the town he attacks, which is the
Eternos.
Thank you. I was Etenos, and I knew I was missing something. I forgot the R. So Superman style, they shoot him off to Earth to protect him, along with the Power Sword, right? So Skeletor can't get a hold of the secret to the power of Grayskull and then potentially even conquer the universe. And then we flash forward 15 years, and the whole time, Adam, when he's going through his little wormhole thing, loses the sword. So we fast forward. He's now, I'm assuming, early 20s. One of my favorite gags in this film too is how when he finally does the thing and becomes He-Man, he becomes ripped, as if we cannot tell he is ripped the entire time. And fine, whatever. So he loses this sword mid-tunnel wormhole thing, and he spends the next growing up, and he works to find a sword. He finds a sword, and he gets back home and reunites with like Man-at-Arms, Duncan, and Tila, and Ram Man, Mechanic. Who else is there? Oh, Fisto. Oh, how could we forget Fisto?
Moss Man makes an appearance.
Yeah, unfortunately, and unfortunately for Moss Man, I was a little disappointed we didn't get Stinkor, but that's fine. And they work to free the kingdom of Skeletor's reign as he becomes and embraces his destiny as He-Man.
Yeah. So
is that good?
Yeah, that's great, Chris. I appreciate that. That was a very
Thanks.
succinct and yet thorough. Succinct yet thorough.
I don't know if it was succinct, but okay.
Well, for you it was succinct. So anyway, so in this kind of slate of these type of movies, right? Of these kind of self-referential, tongue-in-cheek, kind of acknowledging the ridiculousness of the property, where does this one slot into some of the other ones that we've seen?
What are you asking me in regards to the Masters of the universe, or more of the expanded, like recreating these 80s iconic cartoons for a modern audience?
Think Barbie, right? I mean, it was played very kind of tongue-in-cheek. It was played very kind of satirical. Dungeons and Dragons the same kind of way, even had callbacks to the cartoon. So, some of those have been very successful, but with, Gen Xers and older millennials. So where does this one kind of slot into that, I guess, genre, if you want to call it, subgenre, micro-genre?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I hadn't thought about that at all. I've been so focused on it specifically within the He-Man universe. I would rank it below Barbie in a sheer kind of just quality and entertainment value. But thinking about like the Transformers movies, I'd watch this a dozen times before I'd watch Transformers movie.
Although I will say, I have not seen Transformers 1, the animated movie, and apparently it is fantastic.
Yeah, I have not seen that either. Maybe we'll have to catch up with that at some point. We can do a whole little mini marathon of, well, no, because we've seen a bunch of 80s rebooted properties. But yeah, that's fair. I haven't seen that. What else have we gotten that I've...
G.I. Joe.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, no.
Terrible.
There hasn't been a single good G.I. Joe movie. Did I watch it? No, I was going to, and I said I'm not going to waste my time with that because I only have a limited amount of time left on this planet, cosmically speaking. There's nothing wrong with me. Well, so, but yeah, no, all the G.I. Joe movies are bad. The Snake Eyes movie's bad. So, I don't know. I did a quick Google search, and I'm not really finding much on here, right? I think I didn't watch that Voltron. That was a show reboot, right? I didn't watch that.
Yeah, the only ones I can think of are like some of the live action ones. I mean, but that's been a while ago, right? So we had like the A-Team, right?
Okay, yeah.
We had Miami Vice,
That's
which
not
was
great.
like super serious, but
The director's cut version of that is pretty good, I think.
I guess when they start dipping into things like Silverhawks and things like that, then we're really going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Silver Mask.
Mask, yes.
GoBots. Where's the GoBots? So I guess that's good. Now you've made me a little more positive about this film because I was less than impressed with this, unfortunately. Well, I think the core issue with this film, with the script, is atrocious. It is, they try and lean, okay, here's the problem. You cannot make this movie without a certain amount of camp and self-awareness. You can't do it because conceptually it is ridiculous. Especially you have everybody running around in loincloths. You even got the little loincloth joke in that clip we played. Right? But all these outsized, crazy character designs with really dumb, basic kind of kid names, which I want to ask you about your thoughts about that. But it's weird where it feels like an early aughts script written by like half AI and like a high school kid after they watched some kind of self-aware kind of cringe humor. I can't wrap my head around why it's so bad. The line deliveries are just not good. And now the guy who plays He-Man, I think he's fine. Tila's okay. Idris Elba, who I guess is he your big star outside of Allison Brie? And of course, He Who Shall Not Be Named, I guess.
Who did actually a decent job, believe it or not, on this, guys.
I guess I can't stand Jared Leto so much. I'm so tired of him. And I missed my somewhat effeminate, effete Skeletor, which we don't really get here. And I hate the fact that he has this super villain even growl at times, or as he talks, too, which is just, it's lazy. And it's something we've seen 1,000 times. I think that's why one of the reasons why I was so disappointed is with I was disappointed with Leto. I knew what I was going to get. But it's not the Skeletor I was hoping to get. Skeletor, one of my all-time favorite villains. I actually have a Skeletor action figure worked into my movie collection here because I have some shelvings that are too small to fit movies. Skeletor was when I played as a kid, I would find an abandoned mop handle that I would pretend was the Skeletor staff. I liked it's just my favorite villain at the time. So maybe I was going in a little hot on that, but having him say stuff like, it was just a boring rote performance, Matt, that I've seen 1,000 times. Like that scene near the end where he goes, balls, right? It's just, there's a joke in here between Fisto and Ram Man where he says they make a joke about fisting, which this is, again, ostensibly, I think supposed to be a kid's movie. And then Fisto says to him, all right, go give him head or something like that, Ram Man. And it's just, what are we doing? What are we doing? You have to lean into the camp all out, and what really crystallized it for me was the Princess of the Universe song by Queen. Then all I could think about was Flash Gordon and how this is this property that I think could have benefited from that level. The problem is it's Tropic Thunder for me. They went full R word instead of not. That's the problem. Is they lean too much. It's like a dumbed down version of what the film could have been. If they did it smartly, then I think it could have been much more successful than it is. But they didn't. It's the same old jokes you've heard 12 times for the last 20, 30 years, right? That's what it is. It's really at its core for me, it's a bad script.
Yeah. I think I couldn't really put my finger on while I was watching this why I wasn't enjoying this more than I was when I was kind of watching this thing. And I think really it boils down to one thing. It's not just that it's not necessarily that it's a bad script to me, but it's written by people who obviously had no real love of the property, right? They were writing this to try and make money, right? My own issues with Barbie aside, you can tell Greta Gerwig and Noah Hawley loved the property, and they really understood the property when writing it for that. Same thing with Dungeons and Dragons. That is somebody who has played so many campaigns and knows exactly all the ridiculous stuff that it really works because they have a true affection for the property. As Chris said in this, they're going through the motions. They're making the jokes that people think they want to hear, but they don't really understand the charms of the property. Now, granted, it does hit sometimes. At the very end, when they're all talking and all the heroes kind of put their hands on their hips and lean back and laugh, that's straight out of the cartoon. And that was one of the few things that got a ridiculous smile out of me because it was exactly on the nose.
It's the first part of the film that I actually laughed out loud. I got what was happening. And granted, unfortunately, at a relatively packed theater, I went to a Saturday matinee. And I think I was the only one really laughing. I don't know why most people didn't get it. I can't believe there are that many people coming into this cold that had not watched a He-Man episode before in the past, but maybe. But yeah, that was the only time I actually truly laughed out loud and enjoyed what the film was doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think they're making this story, I think to your point, they're writing this for people who haven't necessarily seen or grew up with the property, right? Because unlike something like Transformers or even G.I. Joe, He-Man kind of had its time in the 80s and then it just kind of died, right? I mean, people were still making G.I. Joe figures and Transformer figures and all of that stuff in Transformer cartoons well into the 90s and the 2000s, whereas He-Man never really escaped the 80s, right? So you're kind of having to re-level set, and then all the jokes being made are to people who've never watched the show and don't have any affection for it, saying, look at how ridiculous all this stuff is.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Again, compensating for the potential ridiculousness of everything. The explanation for the characters' names.
I thought it was funny enough, and I thought it was a decent enough explanation. But what I thought was annoying is that nobody told us what their actual names were beyond Duncan, right? So like, if somebody was like, oh, I called you Ram Man, and he's like, well, my name is really James or something, whatever, that would have made it a better joke if they stopped calling him Ram Man and started calling him James through the most of the movie. But that doesn't happen here. Like, they're just these ciphers that they never go beyond their ridiculous names.
Yeah, and plus, we don't even get the He-Man name drop until the end of the movie. He's just Adam throughout, which is fine, but I don't know. That's part of it where I think, like, in the hands of, oh crap, who did it? Who did the original? Who did the Flash Gordon movie? Why am I blanking on? It's Mike Hodges, right? It is indeed Mike Hodges.
Wasn't Princes of the Universe a Highlander song, though?
You're right, it was, but that's what it reminded me of Flash Gordon, because Queen did the soundtrack for Flash Gordon. Because also Brian May did the guitar for the intro of this movie as well. Brian May, famously the guitarist for Queen. So that's why there's a heavy Queen presence throughout this whole film, which I granted they did do the Highlander. Well, it's not technically a Highlander soundtrack. They provided some music, but then they created a whole album out of it, which was kind of music, because the fact that the Flash Gordon album didn't do very well and they were disappointed with it. Anyway, Matt gets upset when I talk about it.
No, I don't. I just love that you just went on this long tangent about it. It was awesome. Thank you, Chris.
But yeah, that's one of the highlights of the Flash Gordon movie, and it's all now that one it's purposely camp, but I think it went so far that people weren't prepared for it, and that's why. Plus, I mean, Sam Jones' performance in that is basically, it's like watching a paper box get doused in the rain and slowly disintegrate. But that's kind of what I think we needed for this kind of thing. And I wish that Queen Freddie was still around to do a full soundtrack for Master of the Universe. It's like, in my, I don't know, ability to reshape time and space, I would make that Master of the Universe movie with a legit Queen soundtrack. And I think I would have been very happy with, like Matt said, people who actually were fans and cared for the franchise. I think we could have had something a little better than, unfortunately, what we got. So we did a couple fan servicey things, which I appreciated. Orko and Merman do show up at the end in a mid-credit sequence. You can see Merman's in the background. I don't know why he gets second shrift. He was a pretty big character in the cartoon.
Yeah, he was like the third level bad guy after Beastman, right? It was like Skeletor, Beastman, Merman, and then you started getting the kind of more ridiculous ones as you kind of went
and
down.
Triclops was like right there too. But then you get, and then Stratos, because they mentioned at the end that He-Man's got to go to the Avian Village. That's where Stratos is. And I didn't connect until about 20 minutes in that Roboto was, played by Kristen Wiig, was Roboto. And especially then when they did the repair and they have the see-through chest with the gears. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Roboto. Okay, I get that now. But, and then Matt, what were your thoughts too on, I got to admit, I was kind of excited when it happened, was the She-Ra teaser as well.
Yeah. I don't know how this thing is doing.
Yeah, we're never going to get I don't think we're going to.
Yeah. I mean, but what's weird though is that, the Netflix did a She-Ra show that I guess was quite popular. So maybe they'll push through and try and capitalize on some of that.
Yeah. I remember there being some issues with that show for some people because, oh, wait, hold on. Do I have to play it? Where is it? Do I have it? I recently adjusted my soundboard. So, I put all the sounds in one column. I organized all of Arnold's in one column. But the woke alert, remember, the She-Ra show, supposedly because it had some, bi and gay characters. So a lot of people are upheaval about that. But the animated show on Netflix. But yeah, listen, maybe if Amazon needs another tax write-off, they can maybe produce a sequel to this. It cost about 170 to 200, so we're going to say 200. It's pulled in 54 million. That's global. So I am not confident that we are going to get another He-Man film. May you know what? Maybe, you never know. And I'll watch it, but it's just I was just disappointed. So what else? A couple other notes, Matt, I wanted to hit before I give you a grade. Shaky effects. Some of the special effects at times looked a little jinky. I wasn't really a fan of that. But I thought it was some. Listen, it's better than the 1987 film.
Low bar to clear.
Yes, and in fact, as a treat, I think I found it. As I'm going to upload at the here after we do the physical media, I will upload Matt and I's discussion of the original 1987 film as when I did our 80s marathon back in the day. So with that the fisting jokes were really rough for me, and when they made the head joke, I really at that point, it's just the script was just it's self-deprecating but eye-rollingly lazy, just and truly cringy at times. So that's been really the issue for me. I think I'm still sitting at I'm like at a C minus. I don't know, Matt. Where are you? I'll make my decision.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I was being kinder to this, but as we've talked through this, Chris has made me more angry about this film. So I think I'm going to adjust. I think I'm gonna give it a C plus.
Okay. Well, you were at a B minus at one point?
I was on the edge, right? And I was kind of being kind and kind of teetering towards a B minus, but I think a C plus is right. And I think I'm gonna give it a plus just because of that hand on hips joke at the end there that I liked so much.
Fair enough. Then I'll stick with a C then, just because of that as well. So, yeah. And I think you missed the very last post-credits scene where basically just Evelyn picks up his Skeletor skull and then walks off. That goes black, and then you hear his Skeletor laughing. And then that's it. I do hope, though, we'll get a Hordak, and all that stuff from the She-Ra characters. So, yeah. All right. That's fine. Folks, if you had a chance to see Masters of the Universe 2026, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Okay, let's take a listen to some classic TFR.
At the far end of the universe, there is a planet ruled by a being of utter evil. And there is only one man who dares challenge him. They are locked in a battle to the death. A battle that will take them across the heavens.
Stop him!
A battle that will finally be fought.
I want them hunted down and brought to me!
Across the face.
Police! Nobody move!
Of Earth.
I think I'm gonna need some backup.
Can you show us the way?
Of course. No.
All right. So you want to talk a little bit about Masters of the Universe?
Oh, do I ever want to talk about Masters of the Universe?
Here's my first note. Canon. It really makes me want to watch that documentary that's on Netflix. Right? I feel like I should get some promotional credit from Netflix at this point because I've mentioned like 4 or 5 times. But yeah, there's a documentary on Canon Film Group who made all these just crappy B movies back in the day. Small to medium budget films like Masters of the Universe. Perhaps you know of the debacle that is Superman 4. So Matt, why don't you tell the kids at home a little bit about Masters of the Universe?
That might be easier said than done. So if you're familiar with the extended toy commercial, I mean, it's basically about a guy who is named He-Man. Now, in the film, they jettison his alter ego of Prince Adam, so he's always He-Man in this. And he basically fights the forces of the evil Skeletor.
Oh, wait, is He-Man in this movie?
He is, if you wouldn't... Did you believe that?
Huh.
I thought it was Ivan Drago for a while there, but it's
not. It's not just that. I feel like He-Man's barely in this film. I think this is like this is the Billy Barty film.
Yeah,
it's for their adventures of Gwildor and Courtney Cox. That's what this is about. I'm sorry, go ahead. So tell us what the movie's about, in air quotes.
It's basically Skeletor has defeated the forces of good, and He-Man flees from his home of Eternia to another planet, which just so happens to be Earth, populated with people who look just like he does, somehow all the way across the universe.
And speak Eternian, or as we call it,
and speak Eternian or English, as the case. It is the universal language of Star Trek has taught us nothing.
It's true.
Yeah, that's basically it. They're trapped on Earth, and Skeletor is coming after this, the magical MacGuffin that they have possession of, and they, fly back to Eternia and defeat the forces of Skeletor.
Right.
After a very expensive battle of special effects on Earth.
Let me tell you, every dollar's on that screen.
It is.
All $35 of it, I think.
So I mean, I have some interesting things. So
Yeah.
I was watching this film, and for some reason, I completely blanked that that's Dolph Lundgren, and I just thought it was some other guy. I just thought it was some other. I'm like, and then like about 10 minutes into it, I'm like, man, that guy looks like Dolph Lundgren, and I'm like, wait a minute, that is Dolph Lundgren.
How can you forget that he was He-Man?
I completely blanked that it was He-Man.
You just thought it was some random guy they pulled off the street?
Yeah, because it just didn't.
You think it was?
Give
Hold
off
on.
the.
If I can reach it, keep talking.
He wasn't. Maybe it wasn't because he was glowering enough. Like he didn't look like he was pissed off, like Ivan or the Punisher. So maybe that was it.
Did you think it was Sam Jones?
Yeah. See, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was somebody like Sam Jones there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I did have a little. When this thing started, I was like, oh man, this is just like every cheesy 80s fantasy trope, like just all packaged into one. And then of course I was like, hey, there's Courtney Cox, and then I was like, hey, who's her boyfriend? And I was like, oh yeah, that's that guy from Star Trek Voyager. That took me a good 10 minutes to try and figure that out. And then Frank Langella, slumming it under some makeup. What? I'm not insulting Frank. I'm insulting what he had to do for a paycheck.
I'm just saying, if there's anything worth watching in this film, it's Frank Langella as Skeletor.
No, I completely 100% agree with you. I'm just saying, just the very fact that he is in this film, an actor of his caliber, is in that makeup, and that's what he's doing, and somehow makes his scenes watchable is amazing.
Yeah,
and kind of disturbing.
I don't even know where to begin with how bad this movie is. It's basically like a non-plot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's the MacGuffin. There's the cosmic key, whatever I can't remember what it's called.
The cosmic key, you got that.
Okay,
you're right.
So
it's Japanese.
It plays musical tones that allows you to teleport to certain areas.
That's right.
Naturally,
into other worlds, yes.
And thankfully, it plugs into amplifiers or something like that. So
it does.
That's handy. Well, I think one of the
don't forget.
Yeah,
I mean, there's Robert Duncan McNeil, a.k.a. Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager. He has perfect pitch. So after they lose the MacGuffin, they can use a Casio keyboard to open up portals.
Yeah.
Because he remembers.
This is where they got the idea from Independence Day, where they could just jack into the spaceship.
It's very true.
This thing is a disaster, I think, too. I think one of the big mistakes I had of it is, why do we only have Beastman? When it comes to all the villains we could have, they give us a bunch of new ones, which I guess, fine, you want to sell new toys, I assume. But you miss out, man. Triclops, Manny Faces, Trapjaw? Though I think Manny Faces was a good guy. Anyway, it's still, there's all these classic villains from that series, that, as you said, that extended commercial, that I would much rather love to have seen than this stupid Blade guy and the other guy that looked like one of the trolls from Troll 2, just embiggened. But it's horrible. It really is. And as I said too, I really feel this is Courtney Cox and Billy Barty's movie. Yeah. I feel like He-Man, Dolph Lundgren, I think has maybe 10 minutes of dialogue through this entire thing. And he really only gets to have a big action scene at the end when he's fighting Skeletor back in Eternia. And even then it's I don't know.
This is one of those things, it's so bad that somewhere along the way, it didn't quite push through to the other side of badness to where it became entertaining again. But it got close. It got close towards the end there, when he's like on the flying disc and just the god awful special effects where he's literally like this, just like flying straight up. it was kind of sublime in the way that it was in the way that it was doing this.
I never got there for me. The whole thing was always just annoying. I feel the only good thing, like I said, is Frank Langella, who reminded me a lot. I think like his channeling his inner Christopher Lee in those Hammer Dracula movies, which I guess makes sense, right? Because Langella played Dracula as well. So, but still, it's I don't know. It's just really it's horrible. It's
well, I mean,
it's really bad.
I mean, even just for the fact that it's not even inept and bad, it's just inept and bad and doesn't look good. And but I mean, even when this came out, I remember when this came out, like nobody, like He-Man had been off the air for years. Like nobody was selling the toys anymore.
Yeah.
So not only was it bad and incompetent, it's that they were so late to the punch where He-Man was a punchline at that point. Nobody even liked He-Man.
I don't remember that. I guess it's entirely possible. And I was thinking too the other day. I think we talked about it in the last show. How I went to a screening of this and there was a live action. There's like somebody dressed up as He-Man and She. No. That was the She-Ra Princess of Power movie, is what I was remembering.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't this.
Okay.
So there's possible that I did not see this in the theater. I think I did, but I think it may have been so bad that I just erased it from my memory, which is probably the right thing to do. I'm trying to figure out what they spent more money on. Though, was it the special effects? Or was it just the body oil for Dolph Lundgren? There's one scene at the end of the film where Lundgren hugs Courtney Cox. And when she pulls back, she's like... she's probably covered in the body oil that he's all over his magnificent pecs.
The glycerin budget on that one was pretty high. But that was funny. I mean, great minds think alike, because I was thinking the exact same thing when he rescues Courtney Cox and he like presses her to his chest while he's protecting her. I'm like, ooh, that is a slick face.
That's right. I feel bad for Lundgren in this film too. I really do. Not only do they short him of any real action or dialogue until the end of the movie, but he's got to run around basically half naked the entire time.
He does.
And because he dressed looks just like He-Man does in the cartoon. Mercifully, they give him a cape to wear, so he's covered up somehow in the back a little bit, I guess. But I got to give to Dolph in that one. He does what he can. He really does. So good for him. Oh, but still, man. I don't know, but
so how are we rating this entry into our little list here? I definitely miss it. It's not a lost classic.
No, not at all. No, I did go in trying to say, you know what, I remember not liking it as a kid, but maybe I wasn't mature enough to appreciate all the deep adult themes that are being portrayed in the film. So let me give it a chance.
Of a Masters of the Universe He-Man.
That's right.
Show.
So, yes. But it's. Yeah, if we were to rank, I feel like at this point, if we would do the ranking of all the films we're going to watch, I'd be comfortable saying this will be at the bottom without even seeing the other 9.
I think you're probably right, because at least the other 9, at least one of us had fond memories of it.
Right.
Whereas this was just, hey, I'd thought about this and let's do this. And I think both of us were like, I don't remember liking this movie.
Yeah, this was the peas of our dinner. We had to eat our peas first.
That's true.
Well, we had to do like we said at the opening of the show, because this is what prompted the whole conversation.
Very true.
So, if you've had a chance to see Masters of the Universe, it is on Netflix streaming right now, so you can check it out. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Or better yet, don't watch it. You're probably better off. But I am going to try and work in the term "good journey" instead of "goodbye" every time I say goodbye to somebody now.
Good journey. Don't say goodbye. Good journey.
So let's talk about what's coming up on physical media the upcoming Tuesday. I'm just throwing in indefinite articles now for no reason whatsoever. So, but yeah, here's something.
Confused pal. New York. You're off course. No, we're not. You're gonna take us to it, John. You did a very, very bad thing, Joe. You killed Monroe. Now that makes you the mole. No. Makes you a murderer. Easy picture. I'm a businessman. very, very serious businessman.
Businessmen. Selling weapons with your old CIA pals, huh? It's just the money? Or are you trying to start your own dirty little war somewhere?
It's my boy Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
And the 90s action thriller Eraser with Vanessa Williams is being released in 4K. You can get it with a steelbook as well. I was talking on Brian Scuttle's Sonic Cinema podcast the other night. I think it's coming out in a week or two. I'll post notes about it in the show about kind of fascism in cinema and focusing on 3 films, which one of Rollerball with James Caan. And during that, we kind of talked about too how I feel in some ways it's like the golden age of physical media because there's so many great titles, catalog things, stuff you'd never heard of. Like, remember, Matt, we talked a couple weeks ago about The Devils coming out in 4K on the original cut of the film. Crazy. But I don't know if it's Imprint or some other label, international label. They're doing like a super deluxe version of Eraser with like a steel book and like title cards and a poster. And I'm like, Eraser is not a good movie. All right. It does not need a super deluxe, like $60, $70 edition. It does not. And I think I watched it a couple months ago or last year, something like that, man. It is not. Those Arnold 90s thriller, action films. Like The 6th Day is another one that's not terribly good. Collateral Damage.
Yeah, I remember when Eraser came out, it was like a big, it's a return to form. And when I went and saw this movie, I was like, this is a return to the Arnold form? I mean, it was basically like True Lies was like his last great action film for a long time after, and like Chris said, his kind of 90s and millennial output was just not good.
No. I mean, Khan's pretty entertaining in it. James Coburn shows up in it as well. Robert Pastorelli, I think, is a lot of fun in it too. But it's just, as a whole, it's not terribly good. If you're thinking about revisiting it, I think it's available, it looks like, right now on the Roku channel. But, yeah, he did that right after True Lies, right? Because that was 96. True Lies was 94. 44% Rotten Tomatoes. So Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, though. So, all right, let's count them down, Matt. Where are we? You know what? I didn't do a good job again this time because I did not label them. I did not include a number. So we'll just start with this and eventually run out. We're going to have Super Mario Galaxy movie. There's a steelbook and an exclusive Walmart tin egg version of this as well. The 4K has Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. There's a making of featurette as well as 6 other features. We talked about Eraser, right? So let's go with this one. Another film that I don't think is terribly good that a lot of people have affection for. The Arrival. This is a Charlie Sheen alien movie. Comes out by Lionsgate / they're part of their Vestron line. You get a brand new 4K restoration of that one, which includes Dolby Vision and Atmos, and 4 new making of featurettes, the archival commentary, and more. Are you an Arrival fan? The Arrival.
No, I have not. I mean, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I was not impressed when I saw it then.
Fair enough. All right. So then number 3.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Hello. Do I still play the clip even though I announced what the number is? Regardless, Criterion is putting out only on Blu-ray High Art, Lisa Choldenko's film about a young female intern at a small magazine company. She becomes involved with a drug-addicted lesbian photographer. Both of them seek to exploit each other for their respective careers while slowly falling in love with each other. Brand new 4K restoration on that. Audio commentary by Cholodenko from 2004, as well as a new conversation between her and filmmaker Karen Kusama, as well as new interviews with the actors and photographer as well. And then let's go to 2.
Oh, you 2 lovebirds take it easy, okay?
Oh, there's so many good things coming out actually this upcoming Tuesday too, man. So we'll start with this, and then I'm gonna close it out strong. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come is coming out. There is only a Blu-ray though. I'm not seeing a 4K release of this. Includes an audio commentary by the directors as well as the producers, and then a 4-part making of featurette with some other featurettes as well, and a gag reel. If you're a fan of this, I would say sit tight because you're very likely going to get a 4K release of this within 9 months. So maybe hold off, like Shout Factory will pick it up or something. I don't know. And then 1.
There can be only one.
Okay, so again, like I said, there's a couple big releases. I'll go with because I'm still going to talk about them. We'll say Day of the Dead. Scream Factory is putting out George Romero's Day of the Dead in 4K. It's a beautiful little set. Includes a brand new 4K restoration there, Dolby Vision and Atmos, and a bunch of new interviews with some of the actors and cast and crew of the film, a new audio commentary. So that's included. And I have all the archival features, I believe, as well as part of the set. But I am sitting on this because I believe that Second Sight is releasing this as well from the UK. So I'm going to wait to get on my hands on that set as instead. Generally, it's my understanding that the Second Sight sets have better encodes than these Scream Factories, so you get a slightly better image. So decide what you want to do, folks. And then a couple other things being released. The classic Them, Matt, the I think it's 50s giant ant horror sci-fi film coming out from Shack Factory in 4K. Bride of Reanimator being released as well by Ignite Films. This is roughly, it says June 11th or late June, so I'm not quite sure what to tell you. They are doing 3 different versions of this as a standalone disc of Bride of Reanimator. There's also going to be a deluxe set and then an exclusive super duper deluxe set that comes with a little, I don't know, Matt, have you ever seen Bride of Reanimator?
Yes, I have.
So I don't know if you remember, but there's a little creature that has the fingers and an eyeball kind of together. Well, they made a special version of that that's like a phone holder for your desk. So in case you needed that. That one's going to run you, I think, though, it's pretty pricey. It's going to run you about $100-something bucks. So, where is it? $130 for the Ultimate Limited Edition Deluxe set. And the Deluxe, which is in a box and looks pretty nice, that one's going to be $80. And then finally, I was able to pick this up a little early thanks to my friends at Viper Video here in Tampa. Arrow is putting out Miike's Audition in a brand new 4K restoration, Dolby Vision, audio commentaries. Pretty much all the archival features are included on this. But you get a brand new scan from the 16mm camera negative. So I'm very excited to own this. What's sad, though, is that I bought Audition on Blu-ray probably about 5 years ago. And you want to take a guess, Matt?
About what? How much it cost you, or if you've watched it yet?
Never opened it. So I was able to. I got a good relationship. Shelby's like at Viper because all right, I'll give you a good price on the return, and you buy the new one from me. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. So since it was never open, he didn't give me like new. It's not like off the shelf new price, but I got a little more than I would for a used trade-in. So I was very happy about that. And those are your big releases this week, Matt. What's coming up next week on the big show?
Well, we're going to check out the latest from Steven Spielberg, return to sci-fi for him. It's going to be Disclosure Day, where, if you listen to Reddit, is prepping us for the inevitable disclosure that's coming any day now.
Oh boy, I'm very, very excited. In the meantime, you can check us out at thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows, and as well as there's a little player there. Just hit play and I'll start cycling through them. There's also the report card. You can see what other grades we gave prior films as well. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Blue Sky. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. And then do me a solid. Why don't you head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And that's that. So we're going to go ahead and take an extended break. Please know that we love you all very much. And we will see you all soon. Take care.
Yeah, you're welcome. And anytime I can give you a hand, just let me know.
And when Fisto offers you his hand, boy, that's a big offer.